guys, and welcome to day 2 of polynomials. So last video we worked on addition and subtraction, so combining like terms. Today we're going to work on multiplication of polynomials. And to start, we're going to work on monomial times polynomial, and then we'll graduate to binomial, and binomial to trinomial. So things to look forward to. All right, so this first page should be fairly familiar. We're going to go through it. The purpose of this first page is to make sure you have these concepts down instinctually, okay? You can look at a problem and know instantly what to do. That's why there's so many of them on this first page, is so that we can get this pattern going and ingrained in us, and that way when we get to the harder problems, we've got these basics as an absolute fundamental. That being said, let's get started. So today we're working with the distribution property. And as a reminder, the distributive property is when you multiply a single term into the parentheses. So take this first one. Multiply -4 to the 2 and a -4 to the -6x. Now listen to what I'm saying. It's -4 times 2. Take the sign with you. So -4 times 2 is -8. -4 times -6x is a positive 24x. I'm going to rearrange these things like we learned in the last lesson and have 24x up front minus 8. All right, let's keep going. Now, with distributive property, it's very important that you hit every single term in the parentheses. So like in number 2, you want to make sure you go to all 3 of the terms. This will be 15p plus 3q minus 9r. And since there are no more like terms, that's all we got. Now on number 3, again, watch your signs. Be very careful as you multiply your signs so that you don't miss a change. It's a very common mistake is to forget your signs, so always make sure you're taking them with you. All right, so those are the practice problems. Now, for the video's sake, you'll notice that my video versus your packet, these problems are different, okay? Do the ones on your packet. All right, I changed them out on your packet, but didn't have time to change them out on my video. So the video is going to pause. Do these 10 problems. When it plays again, you'll see the answers to, at the very least, the first 6, because I have those. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the one for number 10 on your packet on my video. And we'll do number 10 together. All right, go for it. All right, so there are your answers for the first 6. And then we can zoom in on number 10. I wrote it in on mine. And now we're going to do number 10 together. So with this one, the main thing I want you to notice is that there are 2 sets of parentheses. Don't freak out, just do one set at a time. So the 5 will be distributed to both the first 2 terms. So that's 15x plus 10y. And then the -4 is distributed to the next 2. So that's -28y minus 32z. And now you combine like terms. The only terms you can combine are our 2 y's. So your final answer is 15x minus 18y minus 32z. All right. Remember, once you distribute into the parentheses drop away, and you're just left with the sign of that number or term. Okay, make sure you do 7, 8, and 9, and then let's move on. Now on this one, it's going to be more multiplying with polynomials, but the fun thing about this page is now we're multiplying variables. Okay, so we got to remember our variable rules here and exponent rules for when we multiply. For example, 1, when I distribute my y, remember we're multiplying the bases together, so that means we're going to be adding the exponents. So this will be y squared. Okay, and then when the y goes to the 5, we will have plus 5y. Let's do another one. down here at the bottom, number 3. So I'm going to distribute my negative 7m to all 3 terms. Do not forget to do all 3 terms. You should have a trinomial by the end of this. So the first one, numbers first, is going to be negative 21m. Add my exponents, m cubed, plus, actually no, it's a minus. So minus 28m squared minus 35m. Make sure you keep your signs and make sure your exponents are adding up correctly. All right, you guys go ahead and do 5, 2, 4, and 6. And then when the video plays again, you'll be able to see your answers. And here are your answers. Now, for problems like examples 4 and 6, make sure that you're only combining like variables. So only add the a's exponents together. Only add the b's exponents together. Same with the x's and the y's. Don't add an x to a y. All right, so like on this first one, I'll change colors so you can see what I'm looking at. If you were combining, let's say, this term ab with a squared, okay, you just have an a to the first power and an a squared. B should still have its singular 1 exponent right there. Do not add the a and the b together. Don't add their exponents together. Also, second thing to note, you'll notice in a few places, mainly example 2, I rearranged the terms. Always remember to keep the highest power to the front. So you're always going to arrange your exponents and your terms in order of power. And then in the second form, so it's power first, and then it's alphabetical order. All right, let's kick things up a notch. Now, up until now, we were just doing monomial times other things. In examples 5 and 6, example 5 is a monomial, 3a's cubed, times a trinomial. Example 6 is a monomial times a binomial. In all of those methods, we were using what I'll call a rainbow method. The arrows make kind of a rainbowish arc. There is another method that a lot of people like called the box method. And if you remember your Punnett square from biology, that's basically what this is. What you're going to do is you're going to place the first term on the side, so 6y squared, and then these terms on top. So 4y squared, negative 9y, and negative 7. Once you do that, all you have to do is combine like terms. So you're multiplying. So 6y squared times 4y squared is 24y to the 4th. 6y squared times negative 9y is a negative 54y cubed. And then 6y squared times negative 7 is a negative 42y squared. Which means your final answer, as I'll write over here in blue, so you can see what I'm doing, is 24y to the 4th power minus 54y cubed minus 42y squared. Now, the box method isn't anything new. It isn't anything extraordinary. All it is just another way to organize your work so that you guarantee you get everything. Some people like it. Some people prefer the rainbow method. It just depends on your preference. We're going to practice both, and then after today, you can pick your favorite and move on with your life. But for all of these problems, numbers 1 through 6, go ahead and do box method. That way you get a good practice and you know what it looks like, because we're going to use box method on the next page. All right, so I'll show you the first one. So I'm going to put 7 on the side, 2x, and then 5. 7 times 2x is 14x. 7 times 5 is 35, which means I have 14x plus 35 as my final answer. All right, let's do something a little more complicated. Let's go to number 4. Why not? Actually, no, let's do number 3. Number 3. So I got negative 5a, and I have 6 minus 3a squared. Now notice my signs. Be very careful with your signs. You don't want to lose anything. So negative 5a times 6 is a negative 30a. Negative 5a times negative 3a squared is a positive 15a cubed. Rearrange the terms, and I have 15a cubed minus 30a. All right, you are up. Go ahead and do the next 4 by yourself using the box method. If you don't have enough room on your worksheet, you can get a separate sheet of paper out, but I want you to use the box method, and I want you to show all of your work. Go for it. And here are the answers to the other 4. I had to get a little small on 5 and 6 because I was also running out of room. But you can still see what I did and where things went. If you have any questions, please make sure you mark them down. But in the meantime, let's keep going. Now, what I want you to do, for these questions, 7 through 11, you can either use box method, you can use FOIL method, or the distribution rainbow method, whatever you want to call it. Whichever one is your current favorite, I want you to do these next few. Now you'll notice that on these problems, you're not just multiplying, you're multiplying and adding. So it's very important to keep track of things. All right, I will do 2 with you. I'll do number 7 and number 8. I'll do 7 with the FOIL method, and I'll do 8 with the box method. So number 7. First, I'm going to distribute to both terms. Only the distribute into the parentheses. So this is going to be 14y cubed plus 6xy squared. The x goes up front because it's higher in the alphabet. Minus 5y cubed. Now that I'm done multiplying, I'm going to look to see if any like terms. I have a y cubed and a y cubed. This is going to be 9y cubed plus 6xy squared. And you can leave it like that. All right, let's move on to number 8. I'll do box method over here. It's a little awkward with box method, but we'll make it work. I'll use blue. So I have 11y, y minus 3. So this is going to be 11y squared minus 33y. So I'm going to bring those out. So I have 11y squared minus 33y. And then you can't forget about 13y. So plus 13y. Then I combine my like terms. And I have 11y squared minus 20y. And there's your answer. So you can kind of pick whichever one you want to do, whichever one is your favorite. Do the next 3 problems. When the video plays again, you'll get to see the answers. And there are your answers. How'd you do? Now, as you can see, my preferred method is the rainbow method, or just regular distribution. If you liked box, let me know in class. That way I can do a few problems of box method in class. All right, now, a special kind of test question is these find the area of the shaded region. All right, so with these kinds of questions, you're going to be following the format of the area of the big shape minus the area of the little shape, or the hole, and that'll give you the area of the shaded region. So let's go ahead and do one of these. In this first one, we have the area of the square with a side length of 8, which means we're going to have 8 and 8. And the triangle has a base of 4 and a height of 3. So if I was finding the area of the square, a sub s, is equal to 8 times 8 is equal to 64. The area of the triangle, in case you have forgotten, is base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be 3 times 4 divided by 2, which is 6. So my area total, or the area of the shaded region, would be equal to 64 minus 6, or 58. All right, the video is going to pause. You guys do the rectangle and the square of the next problem. And there's your answer. Now notice when I'm labeling my pieces, A sub r is the area of the rectangle. A sub s is the area of the square. A sub sr is the area of the shaded region. Now you can come up with your own labels if you want. Those make the most sense to me, so that's what I've used. All right, let's kick things up a notch and make it more interesting. Now, for 3 through 5, we have polynomials. You knew we were going here eventually. So, when we're doing the area of the big square, this is going to be 11y times 11y. And then when we have the area of the little square, this is going to be 6y times 6y. So for the big square, we have 121y squared is equal to 36y squared. Now, it's really good that we've got y squares on both. That way they remain like terms, and we can actually subtract them. And that means we have an answer of 85y squared. All right, your turn. Be very careful with how you set up your problem, but go ahead and do 4 and 5 on your own. And here are your answers for 4 and 5. On 4 and 5, make sure you're being very careful of your order. So like on number 4, it's a minus 9x squared because you're doing the bigger area minus the smaller area. Same thing for number 5, but on number 5, you have a binomial as your second term right here. And so when you are subtracting your binomial, don't forget to distribute the negative. If you have any questions, make sure you mark them, but for now, let's keep going. All right, and now we've reached the main event, multiplying a binomial times a binomial. Now we're going to start this off with box method, and then at the bottom for numbers 7 through 9, I'll do the FOIL method. So let's get started. Now this is using the box method, but the acronym for this is FOIL. And the acronym stands for the fact that you're going to multiply the first terms together, the inner terms together, the outer terms, and then the last terms. This is just a way of making sure you distribute everything in the first binomial to everything in the next binomial or polynomial. So here we go. Make sure you're being careful of your signs and make sure you always combine like terms. So I'm going to put this first one over here. So I have x and 2, and then my second one on top, x and 1. This is the Punnett square from biology. You're just multiplying to fill the boxes. So this one is going to be x squared, this is going to be x, 2x, and 2. Now you'll notice that this diagonal, these are your like terms. Those two will always be your like terms. So you're going to add those as you exit the box. So I have x squared up front, 2x plus x is plus 3x, plus 2 to finish. And that's my answer. Let's do one more. Okay, let's do number 2. So I've got y and 3, y and negative 4. Mind the signs. Now we fill in the boxes. Y squared, negative 4y, 3y, and negative 12. Make sure you combine like terms as you leave. So we have y squared minus y minus 12. Okay, you guys go ahead and do the next several. And here are your answers. Make sure you have paid attention to all of your signs and make sure you've combined like terms as you came out of the box. All right, now we're going to move on to these bottom 2 or bottom 3. I'm only going to do number 7 with you, and then you're going to do 8 and 9 on your own. Now for this method, I'm going to use the rainbow method. This is my preferred method. I use all the time. All it is drawing the little arcs. So first I'm going to multiply 2x times 2x, and then 2x to 5. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Then I'm going to do the others. Negative 5 times negative 2x is a negative 10x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. Combine like terms, and you've got 4x squared minus 20x plus 25. and that's just the other way. So both ways equally valid. You're going to pick your favorite and you're going to do that one. Do the last two. When the video pauses, then when it plays again, you'll see the answers. And those are your answers. Notice how there's always going to be a like term somewhere. In number 8, they were right next to each other. In number 9, they were a little spread out. But these are the two ways you can multiply binomials or multiply polynomials. In your homework, you're going to use the box method or FOIL method, whichever one you want to do a binomial times a trinomial. All right, so that's a little bigger one, but you can do that in your homework. Good luck to you. If you have any questions, please let me know.